Jeffrey Epstein connecting Sultan bin Sulayem to Ehud Barak while the latter two are in Russia in 2013. Can I send you his email, Sultan bin Sulayem? Any idea how to create the actual contact? My friend Sultan bin Sulayman is in St. Pete. I think you should meet. He is the right hand of Maktoum. It's so funny that like the TrueAnon account in between Brace's like insane AI posting and in between his like incessant reply guy behavior as a bit will post absolute bangers like profoundly important pieces of journalism. We got it all, baby. Here's a leak to Ehud Barak's emails, 100,000 emails where you can see him and Jeffrey Epstein talking about meeting Peter Thiel, who owns Palantir. You can download the whole thing on DDO Secrets via our Telegram. Here's an additional 25,000 leaked emails from Deputy Minister Benny Gantz, an additional 50,000 leaked emails from Gabby Ashkenazi. Ugh. Ian Carroll showed you some clever tech and discovered that Jeffrey Epstein and Ehud Barak were conducting surveillance on a number of powerful U.S. politicians and businesses. Yeah, I don't care about Ian Carroll. I'm sorry. I don't think he's credible. Anyway, a busy day in June of 2014 as Jeffrey Epstein and Ehud Barak jiggle meetings with Victor Vekselberg and Peter Thiel. Both Vekselberg and Thiel would later invest in separate Israeli spyware companies. Peter is Monday at 8 p.m. Victor. And before 6 p.m. Is Peter coming around 7 p.m.? Yes, definitely after 3 best. Jeff, I'll meet VV in some 2 hours time. He probably stays on New York till Monday. Bro, this guy couldn't write for Does it make sense to have a cup of coffee with him on Sunday? EB. I'm returning to New York Sunday morning now, so have time Sunday if you want. In a separate email to billionaire Gary Fiegel, Ehud Barak says he's actually met Thiel once at Davos, but Thiel likely doesn't remember as he was, I guess, under some drug impact. It's so strange. What was Ehud Barak, former Prime Minister of Israel, doing with Jeffrey Epstein? Why were they consistently talking to one another? Why were they emailing one another about linking up with Palantir's very own Peter Thiel? Why does the Israeli state utilize Peter Thiel's surveillance technology? Why does the American state utilize Peter Thiel's surveillance technology, Palantir? How very strange. How could this have happened? Interesting. Certainly not a Mossad operative, certainly not connected deeply to the Israeli state. That would be crazy. Don't you say that. Oh, no. I wonder how this happened. Anyway, them billionaires really do got a lot of things together. Yeah, they're just chilling. They're hanging out. They are certainly not connected, though. It's so funny that this came right after Ghislaine Maxwell was like, yeah, I think they might have met Ehud Barak. I think she might have met Ehud Barak, but she doesn't know.
Told you think that Mr. Epstein was getting any money from any intelligence agency, including Mossad?
Well, I don't believe so, but I wouldn't know. I mean, I would be very surprised if he did. I don't think so. No.
We've talked about a lot of names, and I'm sure there's some that we haven't covered. Are there any?
So why did he have a Saudi passport? How'd that happen? Who amongst us doesn't have a Saudi passport? Jeffrey Epstein was doing the pilgrimage. It's one of the pillars of Islam. That's right. He had said the Shahada and found the light of Allah. Has she ever been in contact with a Mossad operative? Oh, not voluntarily, not knowingly. How could I know? These connections, I mean, you're just making stuff up. Please don't. Anyway, let's look at the Epstein article on Reason now. Yeah, this is from Matthew Petty, who had access to the treasure trove of hacked emails and wrote about it. Inside Jeffrey Epstein's spy industry connections, leaked emails show Epstein's attempt to dabble in security tech across borders. Is there anything I'm missing? Because I feel like that was the gist of it. Epstein having consistent back and forth communication with Ehud Barak. By the way, one thing that these files do is push back against Tucker Carlson's theory that Ehud Barak was Epstein's intelligence handler. Whatever Epstein was up to before his emails with Barak, read line from someone on the outside of that world trying to get back in. Matthew Petty's assessment is that Jeffrey Epstein, at least with these conversations, with this back and forth, seemingly was not in the know at that point. Or maybe like Ehud Barak wasn't his handler, but clearly had a close relationship with the Israeli state. So he could have been an asset for a while and wasn't active, or he could have been an asset for a different division, and he was trying to elevate his importance in the Israeli state, in the eyes of the Israeli state, by directly talking to Ehud Barak, by setting up additional things for Ehud Barak. This doesn't mean that he wasn't an Israeli asset. It very clearly is an Israeli asset. I don't think a member of the Mossad would also be directly emailing Ehud Barak on a private email server. You know, I suspect that they have better OPSEC than that. Maybe they don't. I don't know. Maybe they're that stupid, but it feels to me like that's not a thing that they would do. But of course, a simple financial advisor is not doing this kind of shit, I don't think. He talks with the Israeli email consistently about Putin invading Ukraine in 2014 and 2015. Reportedly, a startup focused on overhauling 9/11 emergency dispatch technology could bring Epstein into that world. One of his co-founders and directors was Pinchas Bucharest, a former director of Unit 8200. Bucharest told Haaretz, the Israeli newspaper that broke news of Epstein's involvement in 2019, that the investment was structured to conceal Epstein's role. Barack brought the money, and as far as I'm concerned, it's his. I don't know Epstein, and I haven't met him. Yet the emails show that Barack scheduled a virtual meeting with Epstein and Bucharest together in December 2014 and told his lawyers to alter the terms of the investment based on Bucharest's input. After Epstein's rearrest in July 2019, Barack announced that he was dissolving the investment partnership with Epstein. Neither Barack nor Bucharest are still on the board of the company. In April 2016, Barack asked Epstein to invest in Levitation, an electromagnetic imaging startup. Couldn't see a product. They don't have it yet, but they're leading experts on advanced radars, made sci-fi-like achievements in military products, Barack wrote, adding that Levitation staff were all veterans of the Israeli weapons company Rafael Advanced Defense Systems. Levitation received part of the $1.5 million contract with the U.S. Department of Homeland Security in 2020 for developing electromagnetic imaging and artificial intelligence to detect threats and concealed items in wide open areas. The company went out of business in 2022. Gideon Levita, a former Iron Dome missile defense engineer, is now running a similar startup called Scanary. His promise is to perform mass airport security-style scans of crowds using miniaturized radar. Barack offered use of the same construct we use in Reporty with Levitation. Oh my God, these names are so stupid. And Epstein agreed to have Barack's lawyer negotiate terms. Levita tells Reason via a colleague that Ehud Barak has never been an investor in Levitation and added, Jeffrey Epstein was never mentioned in any context related to the company. The emails also contain some tantalizing hints at Epstein's other international endeavors. Epstein told Barack about a business prospect he heard about from Britain's Prince Andrew, who has recently come under fire for his ties to an alleged Chinese spy. Wealthy Chines looking forward to start Personnel Protection Co. in Beijing. Kidnapping has begun. Barack did not respond to multiple requests for comment sent to his personal email, to his wife, to the lawyer who represented him in these business negotiations, and to the American Speakers Agency that represents him now. Neither to McCormick, Vexelberg, Belyakov, Bucharest, Carbon, British Royal Court, I saw a business opportunity, Barack told Haaretz in 2019 in a later interview with the Wall Street Journal. At the time, seemed to be an intelligent person, socially well-connected, and of a wide areas of interest from science to geopolitics, and said he did not participate or know about any of Epstein's parties with women or girls. Thiel acknowledged the Wall Street Journal in 2023 that he had met with Epstein more than once in 2014 for unnamed networking opportunities. The report did not mention Barack's involvement. I think enough about what Epstein's agenda might have been, Thiel told the paper. Interesting. This is all popping off as my 2019 report on Peter Thiel Epstein and Ehud Barak's Carbine 9/11 was just ultra vindicated by new release emails. Report on this yesterday, and this is the 2019 report. How the CIA, Mossad, and the Epstein network are exploiting mass shootings to create an Orwellian nightmare. Part of the reason why I don't like Ian Carroll is because he, from what I've seen so far, has like kind of bastardized Whitney Webb's work. Like exploiting mass shootings as in like to create an environment of mass surveillance. It directly ties back to the fucking guy that we just saw on Fox News the other day say we're launching an Israeli-grade surveillance apparatus to ensure that mass shootings don't happen ever again.
I am now about to launch Gideon, America's first ever AI threat detection platform built specifically for law enforcement. It scrapes the internet 24/7 using an Israeli-grade ontology to pull specific threat language and then routes it to local law enforcement. It's a 24/7 detective. It never sleeps, and it's going to get us in front of these attacks.
This is it. Israeli-grade ontology. But don't worry, it's already begun. I mean, Peter Thiel has access to all of that. So conservatives in 1999 and 2024 until 2024. Enough of this emotional blackmail about school shootings to take away our rights. Conservatives in 2025. We need a joint Palantir Mossad OpenAI surveillance system immediately. And it's crazy because like it really does work. Like you can just be Republican and be like, we are going to do the exact same things that you've been warning that the Democrats were going to do for years. And we're just going to do it openly, but we're going to do it as Republicans and you will like it. And many people don't even bat an eye. They're like, oh, that's awesome. I love that. I think that's the best thing that we could have done. Why haven't I thought of that before? Amazing. I guess it owns the libs now, you know? The libs are super owned.
Epstein's emails with former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak are being made public for the first time, and they're generally just about how the two of them wanted to start surveillance companies together, how Epstein was organizing meetings between Barak and people like Peter Thiel, the owner of Palantir, a surveillance company that is increasingly involving itself with American and other Western governments. And you also have some really crazy ones like this, where Epstein says, with civil unrest exploding in Ukraine, Syria, Somalia, Libya, and the desperation of those in power, isn't this perfect for you? And there's also this one where Epstein says, Wethy Chines looking for to start personal protection company in Beijing.
I think he meant like wealthy Chinese. Kidnapping has begun. Wow, it turns out maybe he is a Chinese spy after all. Just
Kidnapping
kidding.
has begun. These were released to the public by hackers. They are confirmed to be 100% real. And if you want to read a full article about it, check out Matthew Petty's article. But you can also check out TrueAnon on Twitter, who are about to do an episode about this. And I think many people thought that this was going to be about how Epstein was blackmailing Israelis. But in many ways, it's more horrifying, because what it actually is about how Epstein, after being convicted of heinous crimes, was basically using his position and his social connections to invest in mass surveillance companies that are increasingly going to dominate Western society.
Yeah.
Security people did not come to Epstein's island. And then Epstein is talking about how he wants their NYPD contact information so he can probably clear it with them that they can't go to the island. I mean, a lot of questions here. What was going on? Why did Ehud Barak not want his security to come? If the women there were over the age of 18, something funny going on there. This was just made public by the people's hero, Brace Belden of TrueAnon, on Twitter, because journalists now have access to a huge trove of hacked, verified documents about Epstein's relationship with Ehud Barak, and there are many other things in there. So likely, over the coming days, we're going to finally find out some more about Jeffrey Epstein. Maybe we'll finally find out what Trump was doing with him.